Virtus.Pro's turn to ban. Evil Geniuses turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Huh? Yeah.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick. Evil Geniuses turn to pick.
Dark Seer.
Virtus.Pro's
Her
turn
spirit.
to pick.
Oh, I do want to talk about why they let bounty through.
Alright. Sounds good.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Test.
5 seconds remaining.
Where'd you go? What? I want to drink. We lost.
Reserve time.
Dude, I want a Coca-Cola.
What? Alright. I'm giving you my backup water, and you're gonna tell me you want a Coca-Cola. Alright, I'm starting. Welcome back, everybody. Game number 2 now between Evil Geniuses and Virtus.Pro. Game 1, very one-sided. Game 2, we'll see. We do have some things to talk about in the draft. Let's Dota. Who wants to talk about the Bounty Hunter?
Bounty Hunter is unbelievable. It's like a really cool hero.
When I say he wants to talk about Bounty Hunter, I mean that he just wants to bitch about it a little
It's
bit.
like, what do you do against Bounty Hunter? You're ahead 5k, lose a track fight, he's got a mech and a Lotus or good stuff, but if you're gonna give him up, you have to have a strategy. You can't just decide, well, let's see what happens when we give up the Bounty Hunter. No, there has to be a formulated team plan. But the cool thing is, I think the way that EG is almost always played regardless of the players, and I think this is a PPD thing, is he wants to see if he can break one of these heroes, and if his team can play against it really well, then it opens up the draft even more for them, because now the enemy team has to second guess. So picking up the Darkseer early on does really well against the Bounty Hunter, for example, because the Bounty Hunter inherently wants to move around the map, and to keep him down here as one of the 2 supports really hurts the effectiveness of the hero, because Earth Spirit plus Darkseer as a dual lane will constantly put a lot of pressure, and that it changes the chemistry of the game, because all of a sudden you're not thinking as a Bounty Hunter, I'm gonna have a free game, do whatever I want, and it won't matter. Now it's, oh, my bottom lane is getting crushed, I have to make some sort of play around this, like I have to do something super aggressive to kind of come back into it. But even with Bounty Hunter in the game, if you just lose the safe lane, there's a good chance you snowball and lose the game. So what I expect out of EG is to pick 2 other punishing lanes. You pick something really safe in the safe lane because you already know there's not going to be a lot of pressure on there. So just by making these small alterations, I think you do a good job in the draft.
So, man, I would have sounded so smart. Let's Dota. I was going to lead that to, at that point, Virtus.Pro then should try and draft themselves a core that is able to deal with Earth Spirit and Darkseer as a dual lane fine, or relatively fine, so that still frees up the Bounty Hunter. Just be like, don't worry about us, go do your thing. Us 2, me and the support, we're going to be good. And one of those heroes would have been Juggernaut, right? We saw the way that he was able to deal with the Darkseer. Right. Yeah. So Juggernaut would have been a great pick. Evil Geniuses immediately banned that. What's another good example of a hero that could do something like that? I thought, funnily enough, Lifestealer is one of those heroes that used to be able to deal with Darkseer back in the day.
I think nowadays, though, it's hard because you can't protect your supports. Jug is the perfect option because you can leave him alone. He doesn't really care about the Ion Shell creeps too much. You have Healing Ward to come back into the game, but he's the catch-all. Jug is one of those vanilla picks where it just works and starts here. Unfortunately, though, you know, they saw him in the last game. EG knows, like, oh, they're going to pick the Juggernaut. You have some options as carry, though. I think right now. Maybe you pick something real defensive. Something really defensive. Maybe
the problem with this is, even if you the Juggernaut's great because he gets himself magic immunity. The problem with any sort of like other carry, say you get a range carry, well then you're dealing with an Earth Spirit who's going to be rolling at you anyway, so he can close that gap pretty well.
It's not even.
Then you're just fragile.
It's not. It's less about the magic community too, and it's more about the aggressive potential of Juggernaut as a hero
Evil geniuses turn
versus
to
Lifestealer. What do you? How do you punish that lane? They just surge away.
Yeah.
And you have no burst damage.
Yeah. Puck was the other ban by Evil Geniuses, and they're actually going to pick up the Bane now. Bigger question mark around what VP do. They ban away both the Lifestealer as well as the Spectre. I guess Spectre takes advantage of Darkseer or Spirit, like that kind of aggression, that pressure that they put on, because you're forcing heroes down there, right? So that frees up space for the Spectre to be able to have that safe lane to himself. Does that make sense? Not sure about the Lifestealer though.
Lifestealer is just good against both these heroes so far. It's a safe pick. I'm trying to think right now what safe lane options are available for both sides. Maybe I had a hero in mind actually for VP before I lost it.
Well, you keep thinking about it.
10 seconds.
The Bane kind of fills your quotas that you were talking about earlier, in that it's a hero that deals well with Bounty Hunter because it's just relatively tanky. You Janata a Bane, he's going to turn around and brain sap you. He can deal with the harassment really well. And one of the more dangerous combos in the game right now is actually some sort of setup into Mirana. Of course, Bane is a classic one. Bane, Mirana, VP actually take that out of the pool from Evil Geniuses by picking it up themselves. Not sure if that's going to be working out well for them.
I want to see an Ember.
I guess it's Ember mid?
Yeah, for EG.
Yeah, because you can't run it against a Darkseer.
No.
So you want to see what Mirana safe lane farming against the Darkseer or Spirit?
No, I wanted EG to pick Ember.
Okay. Now that makes a lot more sense. I was like, what? Because you were
trying
talking
to rationalize it.
Yeah, I was just like, what? I was like, how does that work out? Because
no, it would be
you said
on that safe
yeah, because you said you had a hero for VP, and I thought you had reclaimed it while I was talking.
Oh, the Sven pick, by the way, I should have noted for EG as the carry, is very obvious because good against Bounty Hunter. One of the things that you're always going to consistently hear people talk about being good against Bounty Hunter is be tanky. Bane is excellent, because what does the Bounty Hunter do? You trade 2 Janata hits, he saps, takes it all away, you lose health net. Very good support. Sven is a very good hero for obvious reasons too, because of the Warcry. Bounty Hunter, Sven does not care about Bounty Hunter. In some ways, Bounty is okay against Sven because you track and you can help your team run away, but this is fine too. And it does look like it's going to be a Mirana. It's got to be
Mirana's safe lane.
One of the few heroes that can survive, but this would kind of suck. I'm kind of okay with this Tinker pick too. I'm all right with VP's draft. I know it's really hard as an analyst not to be biased towards EG because I think they're the better team, and it's very easy for me to just say, oh well, EG's gonna win because 9 times out of 10 they probably do in their current form. But draft-wise, if I look at it objectively, I think Virtus.Pro are in an okay-ish spot.
Okay, you gotta explain this to me then, because I'm not really feeling the Tinker pick because I see a lot of sustain. Like the natural tankiness you're talking about versus the Bounty Hunter of this lineup of EG is going to work well against the Tinker and its March of the Machine span. You have the mech against, all of that. You have pushing power in the Sven. You have the ability essentially to end the game before the Tinker gets too big of a threat, right? So I feel like is not going to be able to accomplish enough to stop the early pushes, and Evil Genius is also going to be able to end the game before Tinker gets that super status.
I kind of agree, but at the same time, like they don't have none of their supports right now or have sustain. In terms of they don't have like a Witch Doctor or something.
Oh, okay.
And Sven as a frontliner is dangerous, especially against a Bat Rider, because if you just sit there hitting a tower, like it's very easy for you to just get picked up by Bat, 4 staff forward, then you just die, especially if you're a single core. So I sort of think Sumail has to play something that scales decently well too, because I think Sven as a single core is very weak in this meta. Mag maybe? Mag Sven has some applications here.
Oh, Blitz Dodo was in the spectator chat, and he's like, all right, I got you.
He's like, I'm much better than this guy, so maybe I can teach him some stuff. That's literally what Sumail said. He's like, hey, it's that guy that thinks he's pretty good.
Oh, he thinks he's the Storm
Yeah,
Spirit.
he's like, watch me win a TI with this again, clown.
All right, so that is that is our lineup. They picked Storm Spirit into Batrider, Disable, and Lion, but there's other than that, there's not a whole lot of other hard disables that Storm Spirit has to worry about, right? That's the first thing you look at as a Storm player. You fill in the rest.
Are we just doing this, or are we just gonna meme cast and talk about Storm?
No, I mean, it's the last pick. We talked about all the other. I mean, we can go back to why you thought Tinker. Like, I still want to hear why you think Tinker was a good pick.
Oh, okay, never mind. You took out the overlay.
Yeah, I got it. No worries.
I think Storm in this game. So I thought about it because I always think about it. Remember when it was bad, and I would occasionally suggest it.
Mm-hmm.
But it suffers from a lot of the same issues in the early game. Obviously, the late game for the hero has been buffed tremendously with items like the Bloodthorn, but I think it's kind of okay. Somebody was talking to me about the item build the other day. Maybe it was Jerry or something.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Storm's viability in this meta right now, and it's kind of okay, but I don't know. I want to see somebody much better than me played in a competitive game so I can kind of model if there's any sizable differences.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll tell you about. If I notice any differences in the gameplay of Storm, because I think that would be the most interesting thing for me anyways in a game like this. And maybe even for the viewers, because I have decent technical knowledge of this hero. The matchup is kind of bad for obvious reasons, right? Like your Storm against a Tinker, it's one of the...
Laning phase matchup, right. But Storm Spirit's still a later game kind of... Oh! Bounty Rune, taken away. Aloha Dance didn't even pop out of his invis for that one.
This item build, by the way, you don't go null anymore against all of the really hard to kill heroes.
For Storm Spirit, why?
Too much goal commitment against a hero like Tinker that harasses you a lot.
You don't build the Null Talisman into anything, right, as Storm, so...
Oh, G messed up. You should have been able to have that range. If he had got the laser shoot like half a second earlier, he would have denied Sumail that level 2.
Yeah. Bottom lane Bulba's going to be matched up against what is actually Aloha Dance in lane, No Fear's line, and then Yoku is going to be playing the safe lane at carry Mirana that we've seen time and time again. Big resurgence of Mirana. I like Mirana now that she's back in the meta. It's fun having a big skill shot hero.
Yeah, you shoot arrows and stuff. Very cool.
Yep. It's really hard to hit those creep camps for the hard camp.
Yeah. Oh.
Free experience.
Okay, Sumail gets the deny 2 on the range creep once again. He's doing really well for Storm against the Tinker. Like, I'm not sure how he's doing it, but it's happening. I think he's double stacking the wave again against G, which was what the playstyle used to be for Storm in the laning phase to begin with.
Right.
Just if anybody was curious all about the minute details of this lane. Not that I think people care, but it's just like this. You push out the lane, you make it difficult, then they push out the lane and try to make it hard, but I think Sumail's dead.
Not quite.
Fear
Good
God?
block by Fear.
Yeah.
You needed to get the laser rocket, and that probably would have been a kill.
You can. I thought he was gonna die because Tinker has much better natural boost speed than Storm does, and the range on laser he was like half a pixel away.
Yeah.
But Fear managed to block up this entire time, and Sumail desperately needs this bottom rune. He should be able to get to it first.
He does indeed.
Yeah.
Picks up the bounty rune.
You set up for a kill mid if you're FNG, but I don't know how high percentage. Maybe if he gets the angle behind, if he goes right now, and he sees him on the low ground, and Sumail decides to stay for the high ground, there's...
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
Yeah.
They should have had the read on that counter ward too, because Aloha Dance was already playing around it earlier. Bottom lane Bulba's actually dropping pretty low, and he's going to be blocked out. Nice leap by Yoku. Doesn't actually block Bulba in, but might still be able to get the kill. One more hit. No, doesn't get it. They're going to take a lot of Ion Shell damage because of that. And boy, I really thought Yoku had hit that one. I thought he leaped and managed to block out that path from Bulba, but he slips on by, the slippery devil that he is. All soft hands and weak wrist. If I remember, the first thing I shook Bulba's hand.
Really? The first thing I remember is, wow, this guy really owns that many Team Tinker shirts.
I mean, come on, that wasn't the first time you met him. When was the first time you met Bulba?
It was back in Dota 1, and Bulba was telling me he wanted to teach me Dota. This was back when I was very bad. And he said, I will only teach you if you fiend with me. You have to first become my fiend apprentice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
like way back in the day.
He told me, he's like, get in this Ventrilo right now, and we're going to fiend about other players.
Oh my god.
So that was my, I'm not even kidding. We still talk about that interaction once in a while.
Wow.
Because he hasn't changed as a person for like 10 years.
That is actually blowing my mind that all the way back in the Dota 1 days, you had a fiend contract with Bulba that you're still fulfilling to this day.
Oh, Sumail's dead. Oh, no, he's not.
What? Oh, okay, he's good.
He got real low there, though, and his bottle wasn't coming, and he was staying in the lane a little bit too aggressively. But so far, laning phase-wise, a little bit in EG's favor. Storm doing okay against Tinker. You expect him to not have the easiest laning phase, but geez,
they got it. But yeah, Sumail, the banner rune, not worth the first blood. That's going to be picked up by FNG. PPD starts going on to G. We'll be able to catch him, it looks like, with the help of Fear, but it's going to be a nasty fight because they're being run down by FNG underneath Marching Machines. PPD splits ways with Fear in order to try and draw the VP heroes to him and him alone. He will still die for it, though, and Bounty Hunter's going to be able to be a part of that kill, which is rather important.
That is going to help him quite a bit there. That's going to be a level 3 for the Bad Rider. He wasn't doing too hot in the safe lane, but picking up that double kill on the first blood gives him a large portion of his Blink Dagger if he wants to take that route. Something kind of cool is the Chinese scene has been doing this innovation where they go for the drums into the Blink Dagger, so you're really naturally tanky. I think I saw Wings Gaming, their offlaner doesn't even bother getting the Blink Dagger until he has like travels or something, but...
Yeah. Drums into travels.
Yeah.
It's funny, I like very few analysts have been able to really pinpoint, like why the drums.
We can talk about it if you want.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Wait, the kick comes out, no fear. And the brain staff, they will be able to get that kill. Evil Geniuses helping out Bulba just a little bit more. I mean, he's got a hard camp that he'll be able to pull the wave back to as well. That kind of space is actually really important for Darkseer when he's able to abuse the hard camp pull. The support's doing a good job making sure that Bulba has a good time, and now they're going to be able to catch Aloha Dance, perhaps. Oh no, the ghost! Still managed to get the kick. Don't go for the sleep, though. Thought they were actually going to sleep and try and surround Aloha Dance, but maybe not. Oh no, Fear! TP'd out, wrong place, wrong time. Will end up giving away a kill to Bounty Hunter.
She throws the rockets at the last second, too.
Don't worry, guys, I got it.
Yeah, that was a really sick arrow by Yoku, and he's bottom PPD in a weird spot. He's going to get slowed down by the Janata. Aloha Dance trying to break the sleep.
Good comes forward, threatening the arrow. Hits it. Nope, doesn't hit it.
That was awkward, because Aloha Dance went for the Shadow Walk first, and so it canceled the initial animation.
Oh, yeah.
But then he's like, wait, what do I do here?
Well, G gets himself a nice potential escape rune. Ace picked up by him. I've been playing against some Bat Riders, by the way, that they're like laser rocket build, and they like get really active early on. They just try and run around, kill things.
Oh, Sumail?
Like G's gonna do right now.
He's out of mana. Is Sumail
or not?
Gonna die here?
Keep running.
Oh, G's
right,
all in.
All in. No, the sleep.
Still got haste, but Sumail is way far.
Yeah.
This gank looks so clown.
No fear. Wakes him up. G not gonna return the favor.
He's like, good luck.
I thought maybe they would do this sort of, baton, pass back and forth. No.
I thought that was good.
But G's like, nope, you're gonna take this one for me.
Oh, the ghost comes in and AUI gets lost.
Really? AUI?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that was a random neutral crew. I was like, that doesn't belong there.
All right, Helmet Dominator Sven already paying off big dividends.
There's like a zombie apocalypse. He's like the last person I'm gonna look to ford up with.
Yeah, he's just gonna trip you so that zombies, eat you, and he gets a little bit more
like
space.
Full HP. He's got a haste room. He's like, bye.
Aloha Dance trying to get that level 6, or rather level 5 in 1/4 by 10 minutes, and then you can pick up the Tome of Experience to guarantee track by minute 10.
Yeah. Sumail is doing fine in CS right now. He's obviously gone to the jungle. He got really a lot of help there when he didn't die. That would have been a kill for G. And I think if G didn't hesitate...
Oh no! Oh dear! Head first into double ion shell. There was certainly not going to be escape from that.
Soul Ring now. Okay. And AUI just continues to farm. He's got 67 CS, has been completely uncontested. Of course, Yoku has had to get involved quite frequently in this game, so it's going to limit his farm speed. And Aloha Dance is even going to...
Whoa! He took so much cleave damage. And then even took a pot shot there from AUI mid lane. Sumail does end up going down while we were watching that one.
Is that a Blink Dagger Batrider? That would explain it,
Yeah. So first pick off ends up on the most important here, you would say. They can keep the Ancient stacking down and make sure Storm Spirit doesn't get out of control.
Yeah, they're doing a good job right now. They have the next 3 net worths in the game. Obviously, Sven being at the top of the net worth chart is not too surprising. I think I was talking about this, and he said Sven doesn't have to be ahead of net worth, but I disagree. I think this hero very heavily relies on it because he doesn't have the gap closing ability that most carries do. You traditionally, even a Mirana has leap, right?
Yeah.
So you can go into the late game scenario a little bit better. I think it was one of the Frankfurt or Shanghai games that we casted, right, where Sven had 20k net worth, next highest was like 9, and he still lost the game.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's just what happens to Sven.
Yeah, I look at him kind of like, obviously not like fully alchemist level, but he's kind of like an alchemist in that he gets, just naturally an absurd amount of early farm.
Yeah, because of the stack.
He peaks around 35 minutes usually because he's so far ahead of everybody.
Yeah, he's supposed to be because with the way that the neutral creeps have changed with all the resistance, it helps so much having... Is Aloha Dance is just gonna die here?
Roll in! There it is.
That is so awkward. He's like 100 HP, he's just gonna farm with...
And now FNG is looking for some sort of turnaround kill, but he's facing both Fear and Bulba, so he realizes that's not really a fight he can win. Instead, just farms the offlane camp. Should be ready to retreat soon, though. I feel like Fear wants to try and make that jump.
Yeah. Ion Shell, Earth Spirit, one of the strongest combos, but yeah, as you're saying, all the physical damage dealing at 1 or 2 positions got such a big buff, just being able to stack up stuff and still be really efficient on the map with farming the lane. So those heroes are going to be the ones like Sven, Alk, the ones that don't have that gap closing ability like a lot of these carries do. So you compensate by being ahead in net worth because mobility determines so much of the late game, and Sven is generally kind of an immobile hero.
I gotta ask this question.
What's up?
Is VP intending on trying to take this Ancient stack? Because...
Like fighting?
Yeah, because they could do it with Tinker, right? Or no, sorry, they can't. Forgot about that. Sorry, brain fart. I'm just wondering why they aren't blocking out the camp. That's kind of like...
Yeah, they have a Aloha Dance to do that.
Standard.
Alright, don't worry, Cap recovered easily, guys. Don't blame him too bad.
Yeah.
AUI's gonna get picked up here.
AUI.
Oh, he's
dead.
Ultra dead.
That is a really good pickoff for VP, and if they can actually take enough control and take the tier 1 tower off of that, maybe get a little bit more opening inside that Ancients and fight the stack. I meant fight the stack. I didn't mean clean it up with Tinker. I don't know why you heard that.
You said...
No, I definitely said VP go as a 5-man smoke and try and, fight the Sven when he goes to clear through
You know
the
those,
stack.
like, McDonald's reward cards that you'll never use? That sometimes, like, you get or something? We should have something like that for casters, just like Toby Bucks. You say something like, oh, you can use Wand during Doom, which Toby told me at MLG. I was like, there's a Toby Buck. Like, you've earned it, buddy.
Oh, see, I thought it was going to be a little different.
Oh,
Arrow lands on Fear, and now they get a Shuriken off Bolt. It's actually pretty decent. Yoku's going to come in and roll off the heroes. They're going to be able to kill one, but not the other. So 1-for-1 trade-off. Yoku now retreating away from Sumail.
That was such a slow roll. He just zipped across the map, but still decent trade-off. They lose the Bounty Hunter, yes, but they pick up the Earth Spirit. More importantly, the Mirana gets the kill, I believe. And
see, I thought it was the opposite. I thought it was like you get a Toby Buck for like every land that you cast, and then you exchange those in when you say something stupid on a cast. It's like a get out of jail free card. You're just like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and clear Ancients with Tinker. Jump in. Oh, no Fear.
It's a heavy commitment, but they should have him.
Yeah, pretty easily too. And he's got the haste. So speaking of get out of jail free cards, Mail had one in his bottle.
Yeah, Yoku's not even gonna bother throwing the arrow, but so far decent on both sides. Obviously, once track starts to come into play, that's when we're really going to start to measure how this game's going to go. Net worth and XP are both barely in favor of EG, so not a negligible, or just like a negligible difference there. The Sven obviously being really far ahead, and Storm being a little bit behind the other two cores, but things are in a decent position for both sides. I don't think either team minds where they're at right now.
Bye-bye, Saltmeister. It's going to be a track kill, too. Yeah. So these little pickoffs, a lot more dividends being paid out to VP than normal, just because of the track gold they're going to be racking in over time.
Yeah, he didn't lose any gold for that, but...
Yeah, but he gave away 660 for a support kill.
Yeah, it's kind of insane right now. And it just makes all of these individual pickoffs, like you said, mean a lot more. Because normally you don't want to have to commit the bat ultimate for just these solo kills, but going to help out the efficiency of the other heroes, as the Bounty Hunter is likely going to be the mech carrier here. Just checking all the other heroes to see if there are any other mech carriers, so I don't earn a Toby buck.
The Ghost Saber's already up on AUI 2000. He's farming up obviously very well. He's going to be first to 10k by quite a large margin, as he's already at 7,500.
Okay, so now it's going to be the Bloodstone first, which is much more common nowadays because, of course, the 12 charges.
Yeah.
And Orchid feels more all-in than it used to be, because back then, solo killing was a thing, but now there's so many fights and things can go wrong. If you go for the Orchid, I feel like you're committed to farming, or fighting, more than farming, whereas the Bloodstone allows you to transition and scale a little bit more. And there's no real threats that you need to lock down with the Orchid anyways.
Did EG see that? They did.
Yeah.
So they saw the Moonlight Shadow. They even blind blow a dust. Oh no, Fear right as he was about to roll away. FNG jumps right in front of him. The arrow doesn't hit, but the Finger of Death does, and the missile will be able to finish him up. Now Samael jumping in deep. Gets in a lot of AoE damage, and AUI is here to clean up. He's got G dead to rights. Yoku managed to leap himself away, but no fear. He managed to stall up AUI's rampage, but will end up giving him his own life in return. 2 heroes down in exchange for that Earth Spirit that they jumped, and most importantly, they lost the Tinker, now going to lose their middle tier 1 tower too.
That could have been a lot worse for VP. If you noticed, Sumo got really messed up by the turn rate. He jumped twice without casting his auto attack because he assumed he had hit it. Because of the Bad Rider turn rate, they were able to kind of dance around them. So that was pretty good for VP. At the same time, though, losing the Tinker, a hero that was second in net worth. He's going to get leapfrogged now by the Storm Spirit. And look at the difference between number 1 and 2 in this game. Of course, we talked about it. Sven needs to be ahead like this. Still, this is an abnormally good start.
One tier 1 falls in mid, another one at bottom. EY just rolling in the dough. Got he's gonna have 10 gate by 16 minutes. That turns out to be, because these hotkeys aren't mine, 600 gold per minute.
Yeah. Roshan is also an option. Obviously, Storm being one of, if not the best Aegis carrier in the game.
Right. And they've got one really good hero for doing it, that's for sure. The Sven.
Yeah.
Aloha Dance, getting out some information. Throws a track onto Bulba. Looks like his team is going to try and put some pressure on the tier 1 at top lane.
Everyone's just farming on EG, and I think that's fine. They have the heroes for it. Obviously, VP can't really match that kind of farming speed with what they have. The pace of the game is still okay for them, and really it just takes one fight for Bounty Hunter track. Just something we're going to repeat often. And you've got good comeback heroes. Tinker, Bat Rider, they could both hold high ground very well. You feel comfortable going that route, and I think VP might. And like we talked about, eventually he will cap out at some point and start to lose those BKB charges against a Tinker. Got to be pretty annoying trying to go high ground, and he's one of the few, if only the only building hitter that they have. Oh, but that is a really
very, very, very dead.
That was awkward.
Good read there. Fear, they had the counter words already placed out. Did manage to get a glimpse of him. Turned into the dust.
Yeah, they're pinging around this area. They see FNG, No Fear, and Yoku all stacked up in that one spot, but this is going to be the Miran ulti, and unfortunately for VP, they were completely in vision.
Yeah.
They even ran back in case the ward was here, but it was even better than that.
So they should know about that ward now with the retreat of evil geniuses. AUI next up, just get a BKB, right? Are we getting to that point?
Yeah, most likely.
Because you only really get BKB when it's time to, like, okay, really focus on objectives, because you want to make sure you keep those BKB charges
Fear
for
knows.
as long as possible.
This ward spots a little hot dance. He's down.
Yeah, he's very dead. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, Yoku is going to be jumped up, trying to take a leap away. Bulba! Perfect timing on the vacuum.
Drags him back by the feet. That one hard.
8-12, 2 kickoffs for Evil Geniuses. And yes, this game, it started off and kept itself really even for the first 15 minutes. But we are beginning to see Evil Geniuses turn things up, just like they did last game, just around the 10-minute mark. Asserting their dominance.
Oh, they might actually catch out Sumail here, though.
Really need to be able
They know
to
he's there.
respond.
They're going to go for it.
Sumail, they've got him. Pull back, lasso, hex, finger of death. That's all she wrote.
Very good kill for VP. Unfortunately, there's no track kill right there, but you're still pretty happy with how that went.
Yeah, it was still a dominating streak that went to no fear, which is much more important than the Batrider, because Batrider kind of has what he needs, but you would love to blink on a Lion against Storm Spirit, right? So the oh yeah, the talk about Mirana and the Ags versus Minus.
I really like it when they just go for the...
Yeah, we're seeing that now. All the Mirana players no longer going for the quick Midas into the Ags. We're now seeing just straight up Ags. A little bit of stat items, obviously, but straight up Ags.
I think it's a lot more reliable than just going for the all-in kind of play. And EG, like we talked about, they're going to go for the Roshan, hopefully give it to their Storm Spirit. Well, I'm, of course, biased for any team that's picking Storm. I'm not even biased for any teams, just for Storm.
You once told me in this is obviously your pubs, but
Yeah.
what was your Bloodstone limit? You said when I feel like I've got like 16 charges or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
I know the
15
game's
charges.
over. Yeah.
I feel good.
So you're happy at that point in time? They now with a 12 charge Bloodstone.
Oh, of course.
You only
It's like,
need 3 or 4 kills, and you feel like
it's one of those things I can't explain. You know, I don't really care about the math. It's just, you play hero that many times, you kind of get this feel of the hero and when it starts to really peak.
it's just you've reached a mana regen point where
Yeah,
you've
you're
got
really happy.
yeah, just not quite infinite, but you've got this constant sustain.
Yeah.
So, and that's gonna be that sort of marker is what we're talking about, because if you're cheering for Evil Geniuses, you want to see Sumail reach that point with this Aegis, and that's why it's so important. He picks up the Bloodstone, picks up the Aegis at the same time, so he could dive in freely, be a part of these kills, can even die without fearing to lose his Bloodstone charges. VP obviously needing to be able to contest that. We're looking for a pick off of this 5-man smoke. Unfortunately, Evil Genius is staying far too grouped up for that.
Try to think right now what the next play for VP is, because fighting into the lineup seems a little bit scary, but can't really do much about this bottom tier 2 tower. I think AUI feels so comfortable in a game like this with just how farmed he is. Already having the BKB, he's about to pick up the level 3 God Strength. Then at that point, it's very difficult to fight against this hero. Overall, obviously, some things stand out to me, but it's just been a consistent game. AUI has not been inefficient at any point during this game. He constantly farms out, even gets the last hit on that Ghost in the jungle onto the Lion. Doesn't even have to be there for that. Jumps forward, hoping to catch G, but that might actually just be a dead Tinker.
Ooh.
Really gets his win.
Makes a long jump now. AUI's going to be grabbed up here by FNG. He's now going to blown up, but now the Finger of Death is able to finish him on the vacuum. Turnaround now is VP on the retreat, trying to get away from this magic damage that Veer is laying out time after time while PPD controls up G, but the March of Machines is still making things tricky. As you can see, they're dropping lower and lower. G's like, okay, let's take it. Gets one with a laser. Yoku needs to try and put a stop to the rampage of Sumail. They chase down G, but he doesn't have any more mana. Sumail, he needs some extra assistance. Again, a long-range kick from Veer from downtown. Nails him, but it's still not enough. Sumail goes down for 10 seconds at most, but it was still an incredibly important kill for VP to be able to maintain. Yoku survives and will be able to move on. VP, their first hold against the high ground push of Evil Geniuses.
AUI was just way too low when he decided to jump up there, and he popped so many spells. Doesn't even have the time to get the BKB off. The Batrider jumps up. He's like, oh, you're at 500 HP. We're going to all-in kill you. And a very good hold by them. Gold lead, negligible at this point still. Sumail lost Bloodstone charges net back at 10, but it was an okay fight for him because he's almost going to pick up the Orchid now, which is still common to go back for. It's such a Storm item. Tinker, though, is The only worrying part for me right now is a little too underfarmed.
Yeah, only with the Blink Dagger.
By the time he
Still
gets
got to get his Bloodstone and Jiva's Dagon. He's got to get a Yule Scepter, right?
Yeah, he's gonna get a X2 at some point. Aloha Dance is way out of nowhere.
Whoa! All right. Better than dead. Double dusted.
Bye, friend. Okay, but well, oh, what was I saying?
Good game.
By the time he gets his next item, the Storm's gonna have the Orchid.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's solo Crocus City.
Yeah.
It's the way that Tinker plays, you don't want your team to just, well, your team can't follow you around.
Right.
There's no such thing as a bait. Sometimes you're just gonna farm aggressively. Storm rolls in, kills you.
Yeah. Normally your defense is being able to blink into the side trees, and that just makes things difficult for almost everyone.
Yeah, exactly. But
Only heroes like Batrider and Storm Spirit are able to abuse that.
bottom lane is gonna get pushed out by EG. They're gonna get control of the jungle. You should probably wait, if you're EG, for at least the Orchid.
Radiant's middle tower.
Bell's gonna come out soon too on the Earth Spirit, which would up the damage.
Come on, no fear. Almost there. These last hits, he's so scared that he's not even going for them. Because they have no vision whatsoever.
It's just a scary game to play.
Yeah.
Aloha Dance is trying to do bounty hunter things, but they have so many dust this game that he just gets blown up every single time trying to walk up cliffs.
Come on, someone else can buy those kind of wards. No fear. I just want to see him with that Blink Dagger. So he can shit all over Storm Spirit.
Who is gonna buy this? Your bounty hunter's 200 gold away. Oh, Sumel zipped
Whoa!
far and he gets out though.
Almost got jumped there, Aloha Dance.
Not again.
He's like praying. He's on his knees right now. He's like, please, Lord, don't let that dust hit me. Fear doesn't pop, though. He doesn't know.
I was pretty lucky for Sumel. He doesn't get caught out there. Yoku has a haste rune, dodges the stun on Sven anyways, but could have been pretty bad for them. They lost the storm right there.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about this build on Yoku? Is it the setup here? It's both. I mean, once he has the Orchid, right? Yoku.
It's very good against Storm.
Yeah, but it's to specifically set up kills against Storm, right?
It's both. If you get
Instant
jumped in on
disable into
Orchid,
arrow.
then you just use the Storm away, wait for the Orchid to burn out.
Right.
Storm.
I don't think have you seen that yet on a Mirana carry Yule's build?
No, I don't really like it.
Yeah, but in
in a
this
game like this-
specific instance, right?
Yeah.
So really good idea by Yoku.
Aloha Dance, come on. Don't get...
Was he thinking about going for the tower hit?
That would have been
Oh Jesus!
crazy.
But I think like many other carry players would have defaulted into, yeah, I'll just go Manta. It's a natural build-up item anyway.
Would have been way too late though.
Yeah. But this gives him both the offensive and defensive power early on against the Storm Spirit. So gotta commend him for that.
Tinker also finishes his Bloodstone, so he's in a much better position than he once was.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can start racking up those kills. And this is where EG definitely have to tread carefully, right? Because the biggest threat is trying to push high ground against a Tinker, and that's where you could start feeding him those Bloodstone charges.
Yeah, they have Guardian Greaves, but that's about it. And we talked about it before this game too. Once the draft ended, it's hard to hit towers for free. You saw AUI walk up and just get kind of blasted. Then you're playing against a Batrider. That's what I was talking about. You can't sustain pushes very easily because they don't have any heroes that can naturally just hit the tower.
Right.
So you probably have to wait for another Aegis before you make a move. Maybe I don't know if you put it on the Sun because that means your Storm Spirit doesn't have one, but it's rough.
No Fear is not playing to his name whatsoever. All I see is this guy constantly cowering. He's like hiding in the trees, pops out for Nurse Spike, immediately TP's back.
Don't want to die, man.
Yeah, I mean, dying is definitely that'll set back the Blink Dagger by like 5 minutes at the rate he's farming. So he is doing a good job, staying careful. I'm all in on this Blink Dagger for some reason.
That's what you're rooting for this game?
Yeah, you know, that's like the one thing. I'm like, I see this poor support struggling for it, and I'm like, come on, dude, you can do it. Especially because it's such high impact. Like, most supports are never going to be able to pick up one really high impact item like that. But Lion against the Storm Spirit.
Oh no. Aloha.
No, Aloha Dance.
Not
It's that
like
time
this.
again. The nightmare is real.
The free Bloodstone charge
No.
coming. He has got to be exasperated at this point.
Yeah.
Why do you guys have wards everywhere?
I'm sure his team is a little exacerbated too.
There's no gem. on EG. They're just doing this by smart ward placement, really good sentry placement by PPD in this game, anticipating the movement of the bounty hunter. Just look at how well he's covered the map with all red dots.
It surprises me that they don't have the gem, just because I figure at this point in the game, not just against the bounty hunter, but even against wards that, you know, are a little atypical. Long jump. FNG is going to be spotted out. Didn't quite hit the roll in, but will still have the kill on FNG.
And
Holy crap, that was a long jump.
It really was. He made his way almost from mid. Cost him most of his mana pool, but of course, if you're Stormspirit, you're just happy with Bloodstone trades. And once again, he's at 12. Just needs like 1 or 2 more kills. The next Aegis is going to come up soon too. And VP are leaving their base. They get spotted by the ward on the outset. Aloha Dance going to be perfectly fine here. They even pop the Moonlight Shadow to avoid this.
Ooh, are they actually going to be able to achieve a pickoff here? Oh no, Aloha Dance runs into Samael. Leave! Oh, Samael starts running himself away, but isn't fast enough. He doesn't jump out. He gets hexed up now, but they don't actually commit. Oh, AUI actually blinks in with a BKB. If VP to get a full disengage here, this is going to be a big win for them. Aloha Dance, maybe he will be the only victim. Not even that much. So now, VP actually have the opportunity to maybe re-engage as arrow hits. No! If it would just jam the channel, it would have been guaranteed hit on somebody there, but unfortunately, VP not going to be able to get that pick off.
Yeah.
Still, though, really good play by them, disengaging away from that BKB from AUI.
Yeah. BKB is really precious on this hero just because, again, really easy to get kited around. So you need that 10-second one as bad as possible. They're going to finally pick up the gem, and
he doesn't... Roshan's going to come up, and he won't have his BKB. It'll be on cooldown still.
Yeah, it's going to be
so that's kind of
a fight. They're going to see the Rosh, but I think VP actually contests this, and I think this is a good contest too. You just have to trade evenly here. You have track. You're trying to delay the game. Play overall. Sumail in an awkward spot, but...
Oh, Fear! He catches Aloha Dance. Again, one of those Bloodstone charges, hand delivered by Aloha Dance himself, straight to Sumail.
Really unfortunate, because they can't fight that anymore. Yeah. Why? The only reason they were going to take that fight was because they have track, and they can make that mini comeback into the game. So even if you trade evenly there, you're getting ahead because of track, but as a result of this, now EG just going to pick up a free rook, and we talked about how valuable it was to them to be able to go for the high ground, which is what VP desperately need to avoid.
So, plan A not working out in time for plan B of Virtus.Pro. Split push and high ground defense. Evil geniuses, they have every single item that they would want, right? They're not gonna wait for anything before pushing high ground.
You could wait for a Hex or a Lincoln's on Sumail if you'd like. There's Darks here who can probably go to the Lotus Orb himself. Push out the lanes first too.
If you do wait, you'll also have Shivas available from forward pretty soon. But if you wait, there are pickoffs like this that are going to be opportune, as the Nightmares are going to be enough to stop Arrow from landing. AY is going to have to pop another BKB charge, but if he gets both of these kills, it'll be well worth it. Moonlight Shadow is able to get the Bat Rider away, and G run over by the Storm Spirit, but still the Invis helping him out, managing to get the blink away.
That was so well done by VP, being able to split up there. So they go commit for the Bat Rider. They don't have their detection-based hero first. And the Storm Spirit misses on the roll. That could have been a huge opening for EG if they catch either the Bat Rider or the Tinker there. Those are two of the base defense heroes, and they force out the BKB once again for AUI, and even it doesn't lead to a kill for EG. So VP in a much better situation in this game than they were in the last one.
It looks like Lincoln's, rather, for the Storm Spirit against the instant disables of Hex and maybe even Lasso.
Yeah, it gives you good mana regen too, so it doesn't make too big of a difference. NG flying over, they're going to spot the ward, but still EG a little bit sad about how that one went.
They still have their Aegis, and they still have some big ticket items coming in soon.
Yeah, they spot them with that ward.
AUI, maybe Satanic next for him or something, as he's got all of his slots covered. Not efficiently, but they are covered, so maybe you can turn that Halbadam into something.
I think you skip the creep wave if you're top with Storm. Then it makes it really hard for VP, obviously, to defend when they have no creep wave. So then EG gets a free tower out of this. But they need to desperately win the next fight. EG probably feel as if the moves that they can make, even if they don't go for the high ground, they still have pretty good late game. Obviously, Storm is the hero that'll just keep paying off for you.
All right, it's time. Break the base. I trying. Genius's small incursion. Trying to go on Yoku, but he did manage to get the leap out. Still have the Yield Scepter ready to go as well.
Dagon 2 now for this Tinker. Oh, it begins. Track plus Tinker Rockets. This is frustrating.
Do you think Ags is ever going to, by the way? Oh, long jump in, but a nice blink out for no fear. Now the turnaround, they're actually going to be able to get an Earth Spike here on Sumail. The arrow doesn't land, unfortunately. Right, but AUI popped with BKB, and EG realized that this is another blunder team fight. They just got to go for an attempt at a disengage here. But VP still following with his Moonlight Shadow. Sumail laying some traps out.
Can't be going too far outside your base. That's a fight that EG will take without the BKB available on AUI. Leaving your base is not an option here. You have to play this defensively, wait for some of the BKB charges to tick down, which they've done so far. They have not lost anything significant as a result of these engagements.
Yeah. Have they gotten a single kill from BKB charges? I don't think they have.
It's a Lotus Orb, by the way. I'm pretty sure Boba. It would make a lot more sense than Shiva's against VP's lineup. There's no attack speed to slow down.
Right.
But it's excellent against all their heroes. If you can just Lotus Orb the Storm Spirit.
Yeah. Oh, that does make sense. So... Lincoln's coming in, Boba, Lotus Orb indeed. Complete by him. BKB now up for the Batrider. Doesn't have to worry so much about the Orchid usage. KB for the Mirana. They're just getting all these big fight items.
Yeah, they still do want to take a fight though, if they can. They have the Aegis, so taking fights isn't necessarily a bad idea. It's just VP is doing a really good job of disengaging and moving them around the map and getting outside, moving them again, trying to get some ward vision out. They're playing this the correct way. They're playing to win here. Yeah. Not just sticking inside their base. Like, they're making the little things happen. And they might even catch this kill on Fear as they get the ward up. And Fear, he sees no fear. Oh no, he misses the stun, and now he's going to be immediately comboed up. Lotus Orb goes down, but it's not going to be enough. Still, 3-man vacuum wall. Is AUI going to be able to lock anybody down? Looks like he catches no fear. That's one. Sumail does not have a TP. He's going to make the long zip, though.
Oh, he managed to get the Orchid on the low hot dance. No escape here as he pops the mech, but no Guardian Greaves to get rid of that. And EG do get a secondary kill, but that was still a track kill. That was still something that forced EG to move around the map, and I believe still stalls up their push, right? So that's a win. Aegis is now down. Evil Geniuses, if they want to go high ground the next 5 minutes, it's going to have to be without an Aegis, or 4.5 minutes rather.
Yeah. FNG has BKB now completed, and this game kind of resets a little bit slower. The good news, though, is that EGs continue to scale off with their course. They've got a heart now on AUI, much harder to kill, a lot of armor and HP backing them up. But, of course, dealing the damage is the most important thing.
Oh, ooh, Sumail. Okay. Saying that, are they really going to try this one? Remember, Sumail does have the Lincoln. They land the arrow on him, though. Now the BKBs are popped. Astro goes on to Fear because they can't pop the Lincolns onto Storm Spirit, so instead they're just going to try and get that kill. But G didn't complete his TPN and isn't able to help him out when it comes to damage. Now it's just an attempt to get out. Vacuum and some catching bolt there as Yoku going to be able to be the target first. And AUI comes in for the cleanup on FNG. So an attempted kill on Sumail thanks to a, well, what appeared to be a fortuitous arrow, ended up going awfully wrong for VP.
Very well done by Bulba. Caught the tail end of that, sees the TP, goes to the blind vacuum, catches the two heroes, and still your primary issue is going high ground against this Tinker, who's being very, very difficult to push against for EG. Is they're going to try to split the map now, and I think this is the right idea. With the Batrider dead, you make it so that the Tinker has to make a decision on who he's going to defend against.
Glyph is going to defend both for now, but it's going to be the bottom lane that's definitely in the most danger. That God Strength allowing AUI to quickly chip through the tier 3 laser. Stops the damage for a moment, then BKB goes down, and AUI will get a melee Rax. Trees pretty quickly. Top lane, Sumail is doing some chip damage where he can, but don't think he plans on sticking around too long. EG, in the end, are still happy with that because they managed to push high ground without having that Aegis in hand, and that's going to be coming in soon. So the secondary push is not too long in the future.
That was the right play for them to make. Just going for the 5-man makes it really easy for the Tinker. He's just going to say, oh, well, I'll defend this side of the map. But by splitting it up, they got some damage on the tier 3. They pick up a melee Rex without the use of the Aegis, which is important. The BKB, on, I guess for VP, the bright side is that the BKBs get low. Tinker is getting a lot of farm. He's got Dagon 4 ready, about to pick up level 5 if he wants it. Bo Scepter would be excellent this game for him. Yeah, he's got the Dagon 5, so a lot of punish on the side of VP.
His Fenn's kind of maxing out. He can change out the Echo Saber for like a Daedalus, but he just ate a Moon Shard. So, you know, at that point, kind of reaching your peak. And while Sven will obviously still stay a strong late game carry no matter what, I want to try and end this game at your strongest point. Gotta be right now.
They're peeking around that area. They have that ward. See, everyone is TP'd back. A line being drawn by PPD understands that they're all at bottom. And game is once again going to reset a little bit. They're just going to push out all the lanes and try to make it hard. Bale's looking wherever he can to see if he can pick off this Tinker, though. Even sees that rotation at top, but F and G is the other way.
Slightly off the mark there. Big downside is that Yoku, I don't know, net worth wise he's okay, but he just doesn't have any, like, they're all mid-game items, you know?
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually have much progression, so it's solely on the Tinker. Unlike Shadow, though. And if they can get a pick off, or even win a team fight, Yoku might be able to make sort of his progression forward as more of a right-click carry. That 3,800 gold he got sitting in the bank. Unfortunately, the Moonlight Shadow only lasting so long. Don't find anybody of Evil Geniuses. And EG are now actually going to go for a smoke of their own, seeing Roshan isn't up yet. Going to try and pick something that allows them to take Roshan guaranteed for free without contestant from VP.
Spat Rider's really fallen off in farm. At one point he was 3rd or 4th in the game. Now he's at a position where he is very far behind, and at bottom, the long jip on...
Oh, G
He is fine.
working it up. He's got the HP. Arrow not going to be hit. G is going to be able to survive ever so barely. AUI pops his ultimate though. Quickly makes short work of no fear. The male is going to be slept at the last second. Hit by a rocket that finishes him off. Oh no, PPD just about to zip away too. Now G back and forth is ready to go. Rearming. Rocket after rocket is just staying way behind AUI, getting damage in constantly. Unfortunately, FNG gets quickly popped there by the Echo Saber hit. Bean's grip on a G will actually retaliate. EG somehow, I thought that was going to be a terrible, terrible fight for them, but they turned it around.
That was
attempted.
Not great for VP. At first, it looked really good. They killed the Storm. They did a really good job of killing him, but at the last second, everything just turns around. They lose the Tinker, who...
Yeah, they're like kiting they were kiting AUI really well, and then all of a sudden FNG gets hit by AUI, and it just pops.
That was really well done. Tinker just got hit by so much. Sven right clicks.
Alright, well, it wasn't really how they planned it, but Evil Geniuses still get the pick that's required.
Yeah, it works
for them
out.
to take Roshan with confidence.
Didn't look the prettiest, but it worked out.
No.
And if they just try to go for the long range dip, doesn't necessarily work out as the Tinker barely makes it out alive, and the Storm had committed so much for that, but ED just being wrecked in that fight too.
A little low on charges. That's okay. Smale. Looking to complete Ashivas next. Unless I'm missing something, though, he is not really close to it at all.
This is fight that VP are going to
try and jump below 100. And oh no, the stun actually hit FNG as he clinked in. That's going to be instantly 2 kills. PPD on the side. Manages to survive through the onslaught of G's spells. Moonlight Shadow is buying them time, though. G might just be able to escape, but it's obviously a bad fuck. EG looking for all the heroes they possibly can to clean up, and no fear is going to be another one of them. The Moonlight Shadow actually dodges the Storm Burp, but I don't think he's going to be blinking away in 6 more seconds. Oh, actually does manage to get out. That was Bulba's Blink Dagger, and TP away is successful for No Fear.
Yeah, they had the vision too, but unfortunately the Gemba's not right there with them because they had to drop slots for the Aegis. There's still a squeeze, by the way, in the Roshan pit. Really rare to just see that kind of left off, but I think EG are saying it's go time. 2 heroes are dead, trying to make something happen. BP have to reset on some of their heroes, but I would really like to see them at least grab the cheese or the extra gem that's just lying around.
Smell creating chaos while AEY goes to work on the building. Sleep up on Yoku. And they take the mid lane. Call it a day. Evil Geniuses happy, very, very happy with the exchange. Now they've got sort of this in-game advantage no matter how late it goes. Doesn't matter if the Sven dropping off, doesn't matter if the Tinker continues. We shouldn't say dropping off for Sven, but he's just not continuing to grow, rather.
Yeah, he's just going to buy all the support ups for his team.
Yeah.
And Fear's going to see the gem. They're even going to pick the cheese. Put it on a PPD.
But you've got 2 lanes of Rex, right? You feel good no matter how late the game goes, right? Because all you have to do is win 1 fight.
Kill the Tinker.
Yeah.
That's so much of BP's. Like, they invested everything into that. He's the only person that can leave the base at any measure of farm. He's, of course, very good because he can just Dagon 5-4 times in a fight and everyone's dead. But 1 fight that goes bad, if anybody on his team, if he loses too many teammates or if he himself dies, like there's just so many different ways for EG to just kind of end the game on you.
Go ahead, do it, Samel. Make the rollout. I know you're going to sometime soon. Said he wasn't going to have Ashivas anytime soon, but all of a sudden he's got 2,600 in the bank. And the age is still to be expended.
Mail's gonna just zip across. They're pushing out all the lanes before they go for the high ground. With the Aegis and cheese in hand, I would guess that they just want to end the game now. Shiva's guard gonna come out onto the Storm 2. Thank you for not going Ags.
On who now?
On Storm.
Oh.
Even in a game like this, because then anybody would see it, be like, wow, that's so good.
See, Blitz, I told you Storm Shirt was back.
The Aghanim side.
The Aghanims.
Please no. Oh, they're going to make the jump on AEY.
FNG starts pulling back AEY. The Lotus Orb is going to help him out a little bit as they manage to get the turnaround stun onto No Fear. No Fear does end up going down for the Orchid. Now Yoku controlled up by the Beast Grip. PPD in the background gives him enough time to play through him and Aloha Dance at the same time. Now it's just left to G as he buys back, trying to defend against Samael. The laser is going to be able to buy some time. Samael unable to finish off FNG. The turnaround dagging down Samael quickly, but it's going to be Megas. Now as AEY finishes up as remaining building, Samael dip that and we'll be able to take FNG out of the table. G gets scythified up. No Fear knows it. The Mega creeps and 5 down once again. Virtus.Pro will lose another game against Evil Geniuses, making this a clean 2-0.
EP had a pretty good idea with the Tinker and the Bounty Hunter. It was one of the better chances that they're going to have to take down a team like EG, but the game went 45 minutes, but it did not feel that close.
Yeah.
Like this game felt more like an inevitability. At some point, EG was going to kind of just snowball a little bit too hard. Bulba goes 4-0. The support duo on EG rarely die. 7 deaths combined. Really
the desperation hope always of the Tinker, which you didn't have last game.